Hi everyone, my name's Jude. I am a student at Lancaster University and I recently got accepted for a placement role at Volkswagen Group. And today I'm going to show you how to research placement and graduate job roles with some of the most powerful tools out there. Okay, so we're going to cover four main areas. The first being RateMyPlacement.co.uk, which I think is just going to be an integral tool to anyone applying for a placement or graduate role. Secondly, we're going to cover kind of secondary websites such as Indeed and Reed. Thirdly, we're going to cover the importance of firstly subscribing to, but secondly paying attention to your university careers team's newsletters. And finally, we are going to cover how to approach a company that isn't publicly advertising a placement or graduate job role. So we'll get started with Rate My Placement. You're going to want to go to RateMyPlacement.co.uk. And a lot of people would just start right away searching placement roles, but you really want to sign up to this site. So once you've signed up and made a profile, you get access to so many more features that you wouldn't have access to if you just, each time you visit the site, you're not signed in. First of all, you get your hub, which kind of gives you some like basic information. It gives you, based on jobs you've viewed, you might be interested in. And as you'll know with both processes, you kind of just want to send out as many applications as you possibly can. So that's a very useful section. Likewise, with based on companies you've viewed, you may be interested in the following. So next we've got the saved items section. You've got save jobs, save reviews, save companies. Now this is really useful, but I would treat it as temporary. So a lot of the time, these jobs and job advertisements will be advertised for a certain period, and then once that period has passed, the advertisement is removed, or at least some of the data on it is changed. Now, if you're halfway through a process and you're, say, at assessment center level, and you follow the link and you can no longer find the information you need, you're gonna struggle, and it can be very frustrating. So I would recommend using this, but anything important, either download or take a screenshot of it, just so that you're covering yourself if it is removed from the system or it does change. Next, you've got your saved searches. Again, very useful if you're consistently searching for the same thing, but you want to check it each week, for instance. And then my reviews is where you can submit reviews actually. But that brings me on to what I would say is the second most important section, which is all of the reviews on this site. Now, a lot of students and applicants will only check the reviews at the very end of the process. So you'll have, say, 2 offers, and that'll be when you check the reviews. And I did this personally, actually, myself as well. I only checked them at the end. But when you're actually making applications from the very beginning, you want to be checking these reviews. You want to see things like, even if it's not directly for your role, you want to be seeing things like the company culture, the placement benefits and stuff like that, the social sides of things, because the social sides of things, you can kind of get that perspective from any role within the same location. So it doesn't even have to be your role, as long as it's the same company, same location. So what I would say is the most powerful part about the reviews is that they are live. You'll be able to find reviews on companies from 2020, and they're the ones you want to really pay attention to, because a placement or graduate role in 2019 is not the same as a placement or graduate role in 2020 or 2021. They are completely different. You need to find out how the company has dealt with kind of the pandemic as a whole, what their systems are around working from home, how they've looked after their staff and specifically their placement or graduate students, and just a general insight into what the company and what the position is like now rather than years ago. So the final piece of advice for this is you want to go over to contact preferences and change the preferences. I would activate all of these, right? So you've got advice content. They put out some pretty decent newsletters, like on video interviews, etc. Job alerts. Now this is the main one. If you don't select any of them, just select job alerts, because it's unlikely, but it may just happen that you miss a job that is very, very appealing to you, and they will alert you with it. It's not done manually, it's based on what you've searched. So there's a decent chance that something of interest will be sent through to you. So make sure you have that one checked over there. Okay, so now we're going to cover Indeed and Read. And in my view, these are kind of the same thing. I would go to Rate My Placement first, but Indeed and Read actually cover quite a few more roles within the public sector. So if you want to work within the government, for instance, you'll quite often find roles being advertised on these sites. And I've actually, just from observation, quite a few roles on these sites do have higher salaries than those on Rate My Placement. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if it was just what I was looking for, but it seems that some of the really competitive roles are simply advertised on these sites. Okay, so the third thing is that you want to sign up for and pay attention to your careers team's newsletters. A lot of university careers teams will send out a newsletter either every month or every week, and that will highlight both roles that are available nationwide, but also, and I'm not sure about other universities, but I know Lancaster did this, also exclusive roles to your university. And these can be great because it means that the applicant pool is considerably lower. It's much cheaper for the recruiter to go through this avenue, but roles that are exclusive to your university can be a great stepping stone to get some early offers. I applied for one that got around 250 candidates. It was a small company with a team of about 6 or 7, and I applied, went through the process, and it was very early on. So not only did it give me great practice for roles further, like later down the line, but I also got through to the final stage and actually was offered the position. It was a singular position, and I thought that was great practice. I didn't take it in the end because I was banking on something better turning up, but I thought it was awesome practice, and it was a great opportunity to get started, really, because that role itself, I actually had an offer by late November, which is quite early during the placement process. So that's definitely worth looking out for. And even if you get in touch with your careers team and ask them, have you seen anything that would be appealing to me, have you had any students come in talking about roles that you think would be up my street? And hopefully, you never know, they may have something that you haven't found quite yet. Okay, so finally we're going to talk about how to approach companies that aren't currently publicly listing an opportunity. This can be quite difficult, but if you're confident and you go about things politely and professionally, it could lead you to a role, and even possibly to a role that has no competition if they simply open it up for you because they're impressed by what you've done. What you're going to want to do is go to, let's say ProspectSoft. This is just a company that I know are offering placements, but any business, just follow this same kind of process. So you want to go to their website. First thing you're going to want to do is go right down to the bottom. Sometimes you see at the top it will say our team or about us, but this one doesn't. So straight down to the bottom and you'll see all the site pages. You're going to want to go to either about us or our team. Almost every business will have this, and you're going to want to scroll down until you find people. Okay, so obviously we've got some directors here. I personally was going for roles in digital marketing, so out of these, Stuart McLaren is the most relevant to me. Now you're going to want to go over to LinkedIn and you're going to want to search up this person, Stuart McLaren. Let's see if he comes up. Okay, it doesn't look like it, so we might have to put his company in with it. And there we go. So Stuart McLaren is here. Says he works at ProspectSoft. Now, he's the sales and marketing director at ProspectSoft, so it's unlikely he will actually be doing any of the hiring. He is perhaps a little too senior for that. However, what you'll often find is that either you can then go into the company and look at the team and see who responds to him, or what it will quite often show you is other people that are related to his role. And here, instantly, we found the head of marketing at ProspectSoft. So now that we've got that, we can kind of start to get in touch with people and find some contact information, right? Once you've done so, there's two ways you can go about it. You can either send an email, or you can try and find a phone number and actually call them up. Now, when sending an email, obviously be polite, be concise, keep it short and sweet, outline exactly what you want. You are a placement student and you want a placement role for 2021. Make sure that's very, very clear. The key pitfall is that you have to address it to a singular person. Do not ever address it to a department, for instance, dear HR team, dear marketing team. Don't address it to the company itself, dear ProspectSoft. That will never work. You will either, if you're lucky, you'll get a response that has no substance to it. And if you're unlucky, you just won't get a response at all, because there's no one, you're not pinning it down on someone. You're not making someone responsible for responding to you. And you have to do that. So if I were emailing ProspectSoft, I would send my email directly to Jessica Held and hope that she can either transfer it on to someone else that would be able to give me a decent answer about what to do, or that she would actually answer my query herself. The issue is if you address it to a team or a company and it's not something that's, part of their job, like you're basically inquiring about a role that perhaps doesn't exist, no one has responsibility over answering that. Unless they've got a system in place and they get emails like that a lot, no one is actually, it's not their job to give you the answers that you want. So you have to address it to someone. If you're making a phone call, you need to firstly make sure it's not their mobile number, because that will just never go down well. Secondly, you need to be very short and sweet, and remember that whoever you talk to is part of the company and will be building a picture of you. So even if you get put through to reception, you want to be polite, you want to ask them how they are, but you want to be very straight to the point. You want to say, look, I'm a placement student, I'm really interested in a role at your company. I would love if you could put me in touch with someone that could sort this out. And by the end of the call, you should either have another phone number, an email address, or an instruction to follow up with the same contact details, right? So there should always be a follow-up situation. You should never end the call not knowing what's going to happen next, right? Either someone's going to get in touch with you, or you've got to push it on to someone else. Okay, so that pretty much covers everything to do with researching for your placement. If you want to find out how to organize that research, which is a completely different ballgame, I've actually made a video on how to use Notion and a theme that I've created to organize all of your research in one place. It's incredibly powerful, it's free, duplicatable, you can do it very easily, and it will essentially organize your whole process for you. So I will put that as a little pop-up at the top of the screen, also in the description. You'll be able to check that out. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, and subscribe. If you've got any feedback, constructive criticism around how I make these videos, about the content itself, anything that helped you in the research stage of your placement process or grad job process, do let me know down in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.